Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to set up a vocal chain using just Logic Pro stock plugins. A vocal chain is a series of plugins and processing tools that are used to enhance and polish the sound of a vocalist performance. With the right chain, you can improve the clarity, presence, and overall quality of the vocal recording. I will go through in which order you should put your plugins into your vocal channel strip, and also I will give you a quick idea of what you should and shouldn't be doing with each plugin. EQ will be the first plugin to insert. So either you click on the EQ section here, or you go down here and go to EQ and say Channel EQ. With this EQ, we should be removing any of the frequencies that we don't like in the vocal. So we should identify those frequencies by scanning through the frequencies and saying, right, that particular frequency I really don't like, and then you take some of that out. And you might want to do a little bit on the lower end, around here, get the Q a little bit more precise to the exact frequency, and then you can go, okay, I want to reduce a little bit of that. And then once you've done that, you should always put a low cut on all vocal EQs. So you click the low cut here, you move that up to 36, and you go from male vocals, you should go up to about 80, 85, and for females to about 100, between 100 and 130, depending on how high the song is sung. And just remember, the low cut happens on every vocal, regardless of what you're removing here in the frequencies. If you don't want to move anything here and you quite like the vocal, but it might need a little bit of brightening or whatever, that's fine. You can do that later on, but you always have to do the low cut. So in this particular case, I've got a female vocal. I've set it initially at about 120. So let's play it and see.
I can't really
so as you can see, there's nothing really below 130. So that works fine. Plugin number 2 that you need is a compressor. So we go underneath the EQ and we're going to go to Dynamics and we're going to look for a compressor and we're going to go, I'll have some of that. Then from experience, the Vintage Up To seems to do a really good job with vocals for me. So I'm going to use that today. And there are just a few things that you need to always do. First, turn off the auto gain so that you don't get any increased gain once you start compressing. So you keep the level of your vocal as it is where it is. And then you want to start off with 4:1 as a ratio. That, from experience, that's pretty much a sweet spot for most vocals. Sometimes you might have to go less, or sometimes you might have to go more, but start off at 4:1. And then once you play the vocal, you want to make sure that the reduction is between 3 and 5 dBs, not much more than that.
Can't relive it. Why? I learned to keep it hide, hidden from myself.
So that I learned was quite loud. So let's play that again.
I learned to keep it.
Okay, that sounds cool to me. So that's going a little bit under -5, but that sits nice for me. So that's how I would set that. Then depending on the track, you would adjust your knee, your attack, and your release. I've got it on auto at the moment, and I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to go into how a compressor works, but if you do want to know more about compression and compressors, then click the link above for an in-depth video. The third plugin in your vocal chain should be a de-esser. So if you go to Dynamics and get the de-esser, and select. In case you didn't know, de-essers are there for reducing the harsh S's that we get in vocals. We've just done compression, and what compression does is it tends to bring those S's out more aggressively. So we use a de-esser to reduce that back down. For reference, male vocals are between 3 and 7,000 Hertz, and female vocals are between 5 and 9,000 Hertz. So I've highlighted a section that's got an S in it. Let's have a listen to it without the de-esser.
Hidden from myself.
So as you can hear, there's quite a long and strong S there. So we're going to just manipulate that. Let's put the de-esser back on. I'm going to put the reduction back down to 0 for now. And then we put the filter solo on to identify where the S is.
Hidden from myself.
As I said, it's between 5 and 9 for females. Okay, so I'm going to go with that for now. With the threshold, I only want the S. So I don't want any of the other stuff affected, just when the S comes in. So I'm going to reduce the threshold down even further, and you'll see that as I move up, that only the S will make the detection point peak up. So that's basically continually on, which we don't want. So we want to identify it when that S comes in. Right. There's carousel as well. Right, so that's more like it's a breath as well. Still carousel. Right, so that sounds pretty good. That's pretty accurate. And then we can say, right, okay, I'm going to turn the filter solo back off. And now we can say how much reduction do we want that S to be by?
Hidden from myself on a carol.
That's maximum.
Hidden from myself.
So that's really, you got to be careful because it gets quite dull.
Hidden from myself on a carol. 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 Hidden from myself on. That
sits quite nice. So I would say somewhere around 5 dB. And that's how you de-S the vocal. Then the fourth plugin you need is another EQ. So I'll go down to EQ here, and on this particular one, I'd say, for instance, use a tube EQ. This tends to be very good. And all we want to do with this EQ is we just want to use this EQ to shape the vocal now. Now we're going to EQ it exactly how we want it to sound on our track. So a lot of mistakes get made by people just EQing it really nice on solo. Yeah, it sounds great. And then you put it in the track and it disappears. Mix it in your track and get the level quite nice, roughly where you want it, and then start EQing it so that you know exactly what frequencies work and what frequencies you want to come out and what you don't. And once you've EQ'd that vocal exactly how you want it, then you go down to dynamics and you get another compressor just one more time. And what that does is it just completely squashes that vocal a little bit more because the EQs will now have popped up a little bit. So you might have boosted certain areas and now you want it to be a little bit tighter again and you want those peaks reducing. So that's where you again go to a compressor. You can either do the same one, vintage up to, or use another one, or you might want to use a third party one. I'll just use this. And again, you're looking for a -3 to -5 maximum reduction. So again, the ratio about 4, between 4 and 6 is usually pretty good. And then the reduction cannot show any more than 3 and 5 over here. That now gives you your basic vocal chain. But don't be surprised that you might now say, you know what, after that compression I just put on, I need another de-esser really to control those S's even more. So do that. And then you might want to add another EQ. Or you might want to say, you know what, I've done de-esser again, but now I really would like to compress a little bit again. So don't be afraid that you can add on to this, but just be aware that the first 5 plugins need to be in the same order as what I've told you, and they are tight plugins. So you can use third-party plugins if you would like to use your own, that you say, you know what, I really like using that specific EQ. That's all fine. That doesn't make a difference. Just keep the order of how I've laid them out in this video and you'll set yourself up to have a really great vocal. Well, good luck with that and have a great day. Bye-bye.